As Susan Marks got on, uh, Cheryl welcomed her, and so I should do the same. Everybody, we have Susan Marks that's joined us, so we're now 15, and here we go. All right, guys.
Welcome.
Sorry about a Thursday meeting before a holiday. Rules was Monday. Board of Finance with our budget was Tuesday. Yesterday was Passover, and I think F&B had a meeting last night, so I have a feeling there was a conflict too. And so here we are on Thursday before holiday. Sorry. We'll take care of business and not waste everybody's time. I think this will be our last go to meeting. Our next meeting is meant to be in person, but the town is also going to drop their go to meeting contract. And so I think we will be on Zoom the next time we are remote. Okay. But in May, we are in person. I think we're in the auditorium.
That's May 3rd, correct?
I think it is, Cheryl. It sounds right. May 3rd. Yes. Here comes Andy.
There he is.
Way to go.
Got
We're just getting started, Andy. So, first on the agenda is approval of the minutes. Well, this is the RTM Parks and Recreation Committee regular meeting on Thursday, April 6, 2023, 7 p.m., a virtual meeting with GoToMeeting. Our last GoToMeeting, Andy, and they're going to do away with the contract for GoToMeeting. So we will likely be Zoom if we're remote in the future. I know it's not your favorite, but I wanted to make sure you knew. So approval of the minutes of February 16th. Does anybody have any, may I have a motion to approve the minutes? Kim moved, Diane seconded. Are there any additions or corrections?
I have two suggestions real quick. On the down below, is Sue Ellen on the call with us?
Yes, she is.
Okay, Sue Ellen, down like the last paragraph where we're talking about some of the things that did not make it into the capital budget. It says the $50,000 for the paving of the Cherry Lawn driveway was deferred. I would just add in the phrase Cherry Lawn driveway in front of the nature center, because there's that long driveway in, and that's really not what they were talking about. They were talking about the circle in front, like kind of the road up to and in front of the nature center. So
Okay.
I would just notate that.
That's fine.
And then Adele, I don't know your thoughts on the part with the Weed Beach Meadow and Trail. If we just, it says the evaluation of the short lane property, enlarging the beach and getting rid of invasives, if we should just say and other site work, because there's a little bit more involved. Otherwise, the $1 million seems like a lot for that.
That's a lot of invasive,
I would
but you're
just
right.
add in that,
and others,
that's
fine.
That's in the first paragraph, Sue Ellen. Like
yeah, I'm sorry, I'm finding it now. So what is it that you want me to include?
I would just add after where it says the bid package would include the evaluation of the short lane property, enlarging the beach, and getting and instead of saying and, I'd strike and, put a comma there, saying get rid of invasives and some other site work, and just kind of leave it at that.
Okay.
Thank you. Otherwise, perfect. Thank you for all your hard work on that.
No problem.
Okay, with those additions, all in favor of accepting the minutes as amended?
Aye.
Raise your hand.
Aye.
Or say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Sarah?
I guess everybody, it's unanimous?
It's
Adele,
unanimous, but I can't see Sarah, so. Go ahead.
I think I'm allowed to, as long as I've read them, I think I'm allowed to vote on them, correct? Or should I abstain?
You are. No, you are. You
That's
are.
what I thought. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we've lost Sarah though. Hopefully we'll get her back. Sometimes she has troubles.
Okay.
Last time we were perfect, by the way. Nobody had any troubles. And so I just think that's just great now that they're changing everything, We finally got it. Well, maybe we
got it
didn't. Maybe we
That's okay.
didn't.
We'll be perfect again, Adele. It'll all be good.
Yeah.
Way to end with go-to meeting. Good job.
Maybe we should have, we should have done it last time in that case. Okay. All right. Next on the agenda is discussion and vote. It's on the acceptance and appropriation of a gift of $15,000 from the Darien Little League for evaluation of 3 fields at McGuan Park. I think you recognize that as as having been in the original request from the for capital from the Park and Rec Commission, and it was deferred by the town administrator to next year. At which point, I think that Little League, I think, spoke with the Park and Rec Commission, and they really feel like it needs to get done. So they are offering to pay to gift the town the $15,000 for it to be spent on a professional evaluation of 3 athletic fields at McGuan. That's 2 baseball fields and 1 softball field. It's been 20 years since anything's been done to them. I mean, they're maintained, but they haven't been rescanned or fundamentally improved. And I think there must be some erosion, and grades have shifted a little, and there's some drainage concerns. So this would identify where their issues are and what the scope of work will be to fix them. And the Little League has, well, it sounds like it's going to be really quite extensive what they do. Infiltration, rate tests, laboratory testing, and analysis and irrigation evaluation. So that's what the $15,000 is for. And then the Little League, once they find out what it costs, will consider donating additional funding based on the results of the evaluation. I know they want the, hi, Shannon. Shannon's on.
Okay, thank you.
So does anybody have any questions? The Little League president, John Butler, was at I can't remember which meeting it was must have been the March or either the February or March meeting for the commission, and spoke to them about it. And talked about how busy. Actually, I went back and read the minutes, and Patty asked the question about how many little leaguers there are, or how many kids play on the fields, and he said it would in the spring there would be they had over 1,000 players between the baseball, softball, and travel baseball. So that's a lot. It's the most largest in the state. It's pretty impressive. So so this is a lovely gift. Does anybody have any questions or comments about it? Shannon?
I think it's the largest little league in the country.
What?
I
Wow.
think it's the largest little league in the country. I grew up in the home of Little League baseball, and I'm fairly certain that this is the largest one.
Okay. Even better than I thought. Anybody else?
Just one question.
Sure.
The evaluation of the playing fields only, right? Not any of the other facilities down at McGuan?
No, just the playing fields for this. Also in the budget, in that capital budget is the patio being redone at the concession stand there as well. And that's a little more hefty one. But yeah.
That's not included in the evaluation, right? That's just,
No,
it's just.
no, that's all. Yeah, no, it's already been looked at.
That's
So.
that's an infrastructure issue. That's $250,000 that got evaluated. Was
Yeah.
they had folks come in and look at it and give a bid on that. And it's not just the top of the patio. It's because of all this tree growth underneath that could
Right.
potentially eventually erode it, everything underneath that. So
The
we have to
foundation,
figure it out.
make it unstable. So yeah.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a surprise as Adele had said in the capital budget in the beginning, but it will eventually be a public health and safety issue. So that's why that's in the capital budget. But this is amazing that these Darien Little League is donating this.
Yeah, it's great. They
The
like it.
evaluation.
They like to get it done by November because I think that within their thoughts, they, if I'm remembering correctly, they'd like to get the whole thing done by before next spring. So we shall see. But the 15,000, so it's to accept it and for it to be appropriated for the purpose that we just said. It's for the evaluation. So all those in favor, raise your hands or say aye. Any other questions? Sorry, I didn't ask again. Okay. Everybody in favor, raise your hands or say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I see you now, Sarah. That's good. Lost you for a while. Okay. Opposed? Abstentions? None. So that carries 1, 2, 14 of 15 people present, and that's unanimous. Thank you. Next on our agenda, let's see here, guys, is working groups and committee updates. Do any of your working groups have, I'll start with, have anything to say? I'll start with the playground. Any of you gals want to say what you've been up to? I know you had a meeting. Alyssa?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. So we had a meeting. We hadn't had any meetings in a while, and so we had one where we kind of came in with the beginnings of the discussions for tackling cherry lawn. And so one of the big things was that all of us came in with lists of ideas. People had taken some visits down to cherry lawn, and everybody went in more or less with with their thoughts and their ideas before we go in. And then we had talked about Pam was going to be going out. How many vendors? Do you remember, Sarah and Patty? How
It
many
was
vendors?
6 vendors.
I think
Yes,
it was.
So they were going to be going out. So we're doing it in a little bit different way than we did the Mugwan, because with Mugwan we only, we only had the bids from a handful, and this time we're going out a little bit with a little broader reach. So we learned a lot from the last project. So we're able to focus and kind of like dive right in and make sure that we're getting as many bids as we can, so we can kind of look at it and narrow it down to our wish list to make it a little bit more efficient, so we can get the process done a little bit faster.
Sounds good. I noticed you did inventory, yes, and we talked about what you liked and you didn't like, and so I found that very productive.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I just want to say, to be clear for the new folks that are on this meeting, we had I don't know, maybe I'm trying to remember how many, at least
Four
probably
working groups.
14 meetings
Oh, you did,
from
yeah.
February through last year, through the end of last year, focused on the Mugwan playground. So we did a whole lot. We finished it off. We took a break for a few months, and then we're now refocusing on the next round, which is the 2 playgrounds at Cherry Lawn, and then we'll do Baker as well. And so the next meeting we're having is on in 2 weeks on April 27th. So those meetings are still monthly, every month.
Okey-doke. Does anybody have any questions for them? We started out with these to explain for Susan. The commission started 4 working groups in the last year or two, and one was for playgrounds, one was for invasives in the parks, invasive plants, or getting rid of them. One was for weed, and one was for pear tree. So the weed and the pear tree groups are sort of finished up, but these other 2 groups are still going. And the other group is invasives, and I think Patty, you might be the only one that's on that. So You're
So
on
we had a
again.
meeting 2 weeks, and it's a mini update. Obviously, they gave an update. If you haven't been down to Cherry Lawn, go down and see the great work they did clearing out of a lot of stuff. You can really see the pond again, which is great. To the left of the pond, there were a lot of invasives taken out, and that's cleared up tremendously. So it's added a whole lot of space. Some trees had been donated down there through the One Tree Planted, so those are starting to bloom a little bit. Our first Japanese maple is blooming right down that was recently planted in the fall, so that's great. And then the other focus was down at Weed Beach. So quite a bit of invasives, including the tree of heaven. Folks on this committee who've been on here for a while have been hearing about it, but for anybody new, the tree of heaven unfortunately attracts the black lantern fly, and it is a killer of so many of trees and plants across the nation. And so if you keep up on it, towns across the country are starting to really focus on taking down the invasives. And so they took down, all the Parks and Rec guys tagged the trees of heaven, and those were the ones that were taken down at Weed Beach. Nothing else was taken down. But so some of it was right at the front to the beach where the kayaks are. So you'll see a little bit of there, and where the park benches are when you pull in where that gravel lot is. But there was also some taken throughout. If you remember when we walked our walk back in September, October for our annual walk of the parks before the budget, they've cleared out a lot in the area kind of behind the paddleball courts, and then the walking area in the picnic area as you come around and you start to see the volleyball net in that area. So it really very much has opened up the park. So the silver lining of having to take down trees that were bad is that we've opened it up. There's more light space, things are going to bloom, and it's just more visibility and places to enjoy the park. That's the update. And so the other thing is that we are going to a quarterly meeting now because they've done so much work that we're not going to have another update during the summer. Our next update will be in the fall. So that's it.
And good news that a lot of that the town crew could be the ones that were interested in taking down the invasives on time, and then at extra time, overtime they did, so it's working well. It's working well. It's why so much work has been done. They did a great job.
But the Parks and Rec maintenance crew, right? Yes.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. Okay. The other committee that comes to mind that you probably should report on is budget, which is Patty and myself. I guess I'm thinking, not, first of all, nothing is, so far as we know, nothing has changed. Unfortunately, the Board of Finance is voting tonight on the budget, but nothing seems to have been removed from the budget, from what, since the town administrator removed some things from the budget, and a few things that we ended up getting gifts for. But other than that, it has remained the same. And so we have emailed, Patty and I, with Jenny Schwartz and Barry Baldwin and Dan Baumgartner and John Walcott about the budget, but not a lot. There weren't a lot of questions. Jenny was interested in an estimate for two things. She was, number one, one thing they were interested in, they wanted some detail on the $50,000 capital request at Pear Tree, and so they seemed quite happy when the commission got a sort of a preliminary estimate from Neil Hawk. That gave them an idea of whether it was in the $50,000 range, and indeed it was. His estimate was $52,000, and though the commission, I'm sure they will tweak it. That won't be exactly what he put on the list, but it's in the ballpark, and that seemed to satisfy F&B The other thing Jenny was interested in, and Jack has been sort of banging on this one for a while, and it probably will get some traction this year. My guess would be is the merchant processing fees, for all the town, for all across the town. But particularly, they wanted to know about, merchant processing fees for Park and Rec Department. And so Jim Coughlin gave them, the list of, it was like 800 and some pages. Thank you very much. Of numbers.
You didn't hit print, I hope, did you?
No, I didn't. I went back and looked at it again today, and I said, So I'd forgotten. So anyway, but that was helpful, So
Yeah.
so that was. I'm sure they'll be talking about that,
Yeah.
not
And
particularly with
just
Park
to
and
be,
Rec, but in general.
yeah, just to be clear on that too with Adele, that when we're saying those fees, it's the fees on the credit cards, right? So when our revenues we're doing great on all the recreation programming, but every time somebody pays a credit card, we are absorbing that fee. And so the overall technology committee that John Zagrowski chairs will be looking at how to handle these fees and possibly, have them all in one, do a type of system where we have a lot of different software using different credit cards and fees and stuff
Different
like that. So
departments, yeah.
they're investigating all of that. And then the main thing is, as Jenny said, we should be charging a fee. We should be charging back to the consumer. If I'm paying for tennis lessons or something like that, I don't mind paying $3.50 towards against my credit card, but the dollar number that we're paying is pretty high overall. So that's not going to affect our budget we're talking about right now. But as Adele
Exactly.
said, they're definitely looking at it for the future as a
Yeah.
change.
Yeah. So and for otherwise, we also, we're following the community grants and gifts, and so Dan had a couple of questions. One about the Museum of Darien, and their request was in an increase, and the director Amy Allen gave us a really detailed explanation, which was quite nice. She seems quite good, actually. And then the monument and ceremonies had a increase in theirs too, and theirs it was interesting. It seems that what they're really going to do is budget actually what they've been spending. They've been having to move money around to help them, so now the increase really it's accurate of what their budget should be. So anything you want to add, Patty? I know Patty did a nice job of explaining when we were chatting back and forth to John Walcott about Pear Tree. I think that's what I'm talking. I think that's what it was. Yeah, yeah. Excuse me, I left Pear Tree out, didn't I?
The $50,000
No, I didn't.
was maintenance on Pear Tree
Yeah,
that you had
No,
referenced.
I didn't leave that out, but you explained to him our process of what the survey, all of that, and how we came to the decision, that this is what we probably needed to do, so I think that helped. Anything you want to add, Patty?
No, just that they're going to set the mill rate. They're now in the next 2 hours or so. And so I think that we would have had pushback on Tuesday if they were
I think
concerned
so.
about the Parks and Rec budget, and we really didn't. And I just want to say a shout out to Adele and this committee for working so well with the commission starting back in September, and everybody attending the walks, the walk of the parks, and then doing the survey that Cara came up with, so we could share our thoughts about what were priorities, because there were things we recommended that we didn't think made sense, like paving Woodland for 20 grand, right? Versus we didn't have money. There was not money in the budget in the beginning for any maintenance down at Pear Tree. And per that survey, I think we all saw. And for you newer folks, the survey was for the commissioners the Parks and Rec commissioners and for the RTM Parks and Rec committee. So as we walked around, we took notes and then we went back later and filled out our comments on each park. And she had it a rating system. It was very organized, and then an area where you could give comments. So I think we've helped along. I think we helped them come in at the right number. Very close to what Board of Finance guidance was kind of overall for all the departments. So, and I think that's why we're in a good shape. That's it.
I think so. As,
Dale, I have a question.
sure.
When you were talking, Patty, about this charge for credit card fee charge,
Mhm.
is that going to be across the board, or is it going to be different from people that pay check and cash?
That's what they have to
Not everybody
decide.
pays credit card.
Yeah, not everybody pays the credit card, and but there's a fee for checks being processed as well. So nothing is simple, of course. So I think it will be across. They will figure out what's the best way to do it. And then do it systematically. All across town services.
So it was only just highlighted this go round. It's not anything that's going to take place this year.
I don't know if it'll take place this year. It's not in this budget, if that's what you're
Okay.
saying. But they've been talking about it for a while, and so I mean
Yes, they
it's
have.
it's been bubbling, and so of course, so we'll see, But yeah, that theoretically it'll be coming, some sort of a decision. Not an easy one.
It's six figures that we pay. So it's on the high end of the six figures. So that is definitely something that they'll be looking at, in the next year. But it probably won't be implemented until, they start. I don't know. It'll be up to really probably John Zagrowski and the technology team for when, what they do and how to do it.
Right. But as Jenny so nicely put it in her email, with Park and Rec coming in close to guidance at 3.9% increase and capital at 515, Jenny and Barry saw nothing of concern, and so that cheers to that. So fingers crossed. We'll find out. We'll find out. I think we're okay, actually. That's all I have on the budget.
Dale, I have a few things on the two committees. I don't know when you want me to say anything.
Oh, good. Now is the time.
Okay.
Susan
So-
got right in and volunteered, and so that before you start, Susan, oh gosh, my daughter's pinging me. Please don't ping me. Oh God, I've lost my train of thought. Here it is. Is that everybody's volunteered to follow the various commissions and committees, except for the 5 Mile River Commission, and so I still need somebody to volunteer for that. They don't. For that one. I'm not even sure that they meet at town hall. I mostly would be reading their minutes. But anyway, I hope somebody will volunteer for that. Okay, Susan, go.
Okay, so my first one is an coastal advisory, and they actually have not met. They were short 3 members, and they finally do have the new members. So their first meeting of 2023 will be on the 17th of April, and they're going to elect, the chair and vice chair and the clerk, and then they're going to set their goals for 2023. So there's not really anything to report other than they're going to start in April for 2023. And then the harbor master, I meant to go back and look at one thing. I know that every 3 years they're supposed to do a survey of the channel and the depth of it, and they missed the last cycle of 3. So he did go to the Board of Selectmen for, I guess it's split between the town, the boat club, and the yacht club to cover the cost of that. So hopefully that will get into the cycle. I don't know if it's been approved by both the boat club and the yacht club. And I'm sure you all know that the mooring list is just growing and growing and growing. And I actually was looking at it today, and it's interesting because in Darien Harbor, there's 146 people still on the list. And some of them have been on, like the oldest one has been on there since 2013, but it's really because of the size of the boat. So sometimes it's the luck of the draw if you get a mooring or not. So it's a coveted, I mean, all the moorings, all the lists are long. You know, they're the shortest list probably is 3 years, but it can be up to 10 and over. And I know when they put this new harbor master on, he actually had wanted to, I mean, one of the goals was to see if they could add more moorings. And it's been looked at many times, and you know, hopefully they can, but it's not looking very optimistic that there's just X amount of space when the swing of all the boats just doesn't allow a lot of more moorings to go in, but I'll keep you guys updated on anything I hear as far as that's concerned.
Susan, can I ask a quick question? So you said 146 people waiting. Thank you for the update, by the way. Very helpful. 146 people waiting on moorings based on size of boats. I mean, I'm under, and I may be completely incorrect, but it feels like with a mooring, it doesn't necessarily matter
Yeah,
the size
think
of
you
your
might
boat.
mean
It's the
slip.
swing of
They
it's
can
very,
put down a bigger thing. It's the slips.
Yeah,
well,
I had the
because
same question.
yeah, with a
Slips
mooring,
and moorings.
it's the swing of the boat, it's the size of the boat, it's the keel, it's a power boat, it's a sailboat. So
Okay.
and you know, they have to take, it's a lot of actually math that goes into it to when they assign these moorings. And at one point I know they had talked about taking all the moorings up and starting from scratch, and trying to put sailboats in one part and motorboats in the other part. Well, let me just say, as a boater, if you tell someone that's had a mooring 50 years that they're going to be moving, you would not want to be in the room when that happens. So, yeah, it's a lot more involved because of the swing of the boats and the wind and the tides and all of that. So, yeah.
Yeah, Diane, how
Shannon,
would
you
your
had
husband
had,
feel about that?
I had
right,
that
Shannon,
same
you had
question. Yeah,
okay,
I had
good.
the
So
same
I
question.
finally saw your
Susan,
hand. There you go.
yeah, Susan, you were talking specifically about moorings. You weren't speaking about moorings and slips.
No, because the town has no slips. It's only the boat club has slips.
Only
There's
boat
no
club has
slips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
And
Thank you.
that's just for Darien Harbor. There's also a waiting list for Ziegler's. There's a waiting list for Norotan Bay. It's actually all on the town website. I just happen to focus in on Darien Harbor because that, you know, that has the most amount of wait list.
Yep. And will that change, I wonder, with Great Island? I wonder if any of that will change.
Should have no effect. The
Should
harbor
it go up?
isn't, no.
Well, I mean, who
Great
knows if
Island,
Go ahead, Bill, finish.
Great Island, the harbor master is an independent board or commission, and whether Great Island's owned by us or anyone else should not change whatever he decides to do.
I just wonder if it gives us more options to add more moorings.
I don't think so. I don't think Great Island, just because we own Great Island doesn't mean we can add something to the harbor. That's the harbor master's job, independent of what we might think.
Got it.
I think I can't remember,
And
but
I'm
I
saying
do.
this unofficially. I am not
Exactly.
an
Yeah.
expert.
Yeah. My memory is that he's right, but I wouldn't swear to it. I don't have a boat. You know, it's not my thing. Cheryl?
Yeah, I'm just going to say a couple of things. Thanks, Susan, for getting those numbers up. Susan's right. When Tom Bell was the harbor master, he redid the whole Darien Harbor out in front of Pear Tree. So he has the swing of the boats and all, and he added a lot more boats out there, sailboats and power boats. So the harbor master is appointed by the state, and he has state rules and regulations that he has to follow. So that's not going to change, and it's going to be a long wait for anybody to get, you know, a slip at the boat club and a mooring out there. The Ziegler's Cove is now under a wait list with the harbor master. There are no there's really nowhere to put more moorings in Scotts Cove that I see when I'm out there. Possibly the harbor master might be able to get one or two, but it's very, very silted in there. So the Fish Island doesn't belong to us, and people that do go over there for the day on a day trip or something like that, he's allowed people to go on Fish Island. So you have to move your boat every 20 minutes when the tide's going in and out over at Fish Island if you're there on land. So I don't think Great Island is going to add any more area because they do have a dock there, but it's only for a couple of boats. And mostly it's our fire boat. And then I believe some people that live on Great Island have boats there. So it's all under the state appointed harbor master and how he feels and where he can, squeeze in another boat or something like that out in our harbor. As far as the Norotan Bay goes, that was an issue years ago. So they have their list, and the harbor master, I believe, is also in control of that.
Yep.
So those are the stages and the 3 areas that we have that we can moor a boat in.
Well, I noticed that the Board of Finance transferred, $1,500 to be used for the survey, for the town's portion of the survey.
Good,
So,
right. And
yeah,
the other
I'm
thing I forgot to
assuming
mention, in the harbor master's budget, he does replace the channel markers. So I think there's
Right.
$3,000 in his budget.
Mhm.
And there was $3,000 a couple of years ago. Had looked back at it. And they just need to be replaced every so often. So I think one of the things also that the advisory board is going to try to do again is work with the police to monitor the speed in the harbor because it's out of control. So,
Yeah.
but that's always a very ginger topic for everyone to discuss.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Very informative. I think that's it for the committee updates. Anything else, guys? If not, I'll move on to my chairman's report. First thing I wanted to just everybody that was sent. I forwarded to you the specs basically for the Great Island Advisory Committee that's being formed, and it was modified from what you got sent, but not by a lot. So that now the composition of the initial committee will be still 9 members, including 4 full-time residents of Darien appointed by the board, 2 selectmen, the moderator of the RTM or his designee, which I'll get back to that in a minute. The chairman of the Board of Finance or his designee, the chairman of the Parks and Recreation Commission or their designee. The Planning and Zoning Commission has been removed. That's why they added an extra full-time resident from Darien. So this was voted on by the Board of Selectmen on Monday night. So that's the way it is. Seth is choosing not to serve on the committee for the RTM, and so he, instead of designating a representative, he will leave it up to the RTM to do that. And so the RTM will be voting at the next RTM meeting for 1 RTM representative to the advisory board. And we will do it the way we vote for ethics. And so anyone that is interested in being considered should get in touch with the town clerk. I think she'll send something out to that effect to people as well. But and then we will vote at that meeting from whoever the nominees are. Plus, there will be nominations from the floor as well. But that's just for the 1 RTM representative, and then of course there will be 4 town representatives, and I assume that you will go if you want to volunteer for that or be considered. You would go through the first selectman's office.
So
But I
that's
think
different than an RTM member, right?
Yes, that's different. And I don't think they're mutually exclusive. But anyway, that's how it's going to work. So right now, all we have anything to do with is, well, I think if you're interested, you should apply, you should get in touch with the town clerk and say you would like your put your name in consideration. Okay, Alicia, you got to unmute yourself. There you go.
Unmuting myself. So, do you think we have any sort of responsibility as a like RTM group with Parks and Rec to collect ideas from the community about Great Island and give our opinion, or no?
Certainly we can. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good idea, truthfully. And whether we do it um, just do it, or if we do it purposefully, or whether we're just doing it anyway. I'm not sure that this first group, will necessarily be the ones who are going to develop Great Island.
Agreed.
They,
Agreed.
I think it's probably it sounds like they will get it ready for people to go in, although they may do a bit some more than that. I don't think it's really clear exactly
No, I
what.
agree. And Adele, like, just with great respect,
Yeah.
truly. I'm only asking because we're early days on Great Island and it's going to be incredible and amazing. And like maybe us as a group, if we get ahead of it, we could, gather some community buy-in on this, that, the other, and some ideas.
Adele,
Yes, Bill.
Adele,
Yes.
I believe when when the Board of Selectmen met on Monday, that they were talking about kind of a two-phased approach. And one was to get the road widened and find parking so that the public can get into the island. And the second part of development was to form a committee or commission or whatever to gather all the type of information that was just alluded to here. And so I think we might be trying to do the same thing that is eventually going to be done by the second phase of advisory group.
Any other comments?
Do you think they're going to have just this group to do the roads, widen the roads, and she said porta potties and parking lots and that sort of thing? Then that group will be disbanded, and then a new group will come on, probably in a couple of years, to do renovations. And that's where I think Alicia's coming from, as to where we, as Park and Rec, should have a say in a lot of this, because it's going to be under Park and Rec. It's all recreational use, basically.
Excuse
So do you
me,
think
but
there could be two different groups? This group
I
first.
think you're.
Okay, go ahead. Hang on. What you want to answer, Bill? Go ahead.
Yeah, let me ask you, am I correct that Ox Ridge or Hill, whatever they call it now, is not under Park and Rec?
Highland Farm.
Highland is not dedicated parkland. We do,
Correct.
Neither will Great Island. Great
Right.
Island is not dedicated park.
nor
Okay.
is Great Island
That is-
dedicated parkland, but we will be doing the
That's correct.
maintenance on it. But there could very likely, to Cheryl's point, be a conservancy at some point, which is what happens over at Todd's Point and happens over at Waveney, where there's a combination of the conservancy raises the money and maintains that building, that wonderful building at New Canaan at Waveney. But the Parks and Rec department maintains the grass and the land and the things like that. So I wouldn't be, I hear what you're saying, Cheryl. I'm not sure. It could be an add-on, my initial thought was that it would be an add-on to the additional people that are there, but it might be that they're really looking for areas of expertise, a little bit in engineering, a little bit in environmental mitigation, maybe a little bit in land for public trust expertise in the beginning, and then the other stuff, then people with expertise, as you said, in other areas. But I'm not sure. We don't.
Yeah, we really don't know. But Alicia, I think it's a great idea. I
Yeah,
think,
I do
you
too.
know, yeah,
I think we need to, I think we need to keep our eyes and ears open on this because I can see this being a lot of recreational use, which is what Park and Rec is.
I don't know
Well,
about that.
and I know before Bill opens his mouth that he is that's not exactly his vision of Great Island. And so,
I know, but I can
and so
see it
it'll be
coming.
interesting, Alicia. It'll be interesting. Um, I think that is all I'm going to say. Any other comments from anybody? Okay.
I'll just say while you're grabbing your next paper that it closes on Cinco de Mayo on May 5th. So I think we should all head to Bodega or someplace to celebrate with a margarita. Under the socialization of the Parks and Rec Committee. I'm just throwing out being social. No meeting, just a cocktail.
That'd be nice. Sounds good to me.
As the Texan in this group by birth, I'll be there.
Just a couple of updates from the commission. If you've read their Pam's director's report, probably know most of them, but the daddy-daughter dance evidently was quite something, and it was sold out. And I heard it was described as a 100+ conga line, limbo, line dances, and they sold at least 500 places. And then they may have done more than that. That was before I think they had finished, their sales. So I think it was a great success. And that at the 500 places, that was $10,650. So very nice. Kudos to them. That was a lot of work.
It was
but
good. My husband took my daughter.
Did you? Great.
Yeah, they did. And I have a video of that conga line. It was impressive.
I'm glad
It was
you
like
went.
elementary school girls gone wild. It was
Cool. That's
but
really
she came
cool.
home, she's 5. She came home and said it was like her best night ever.
Oh, cool.
It was very
That's
cute.
great.
Hey, Alyssa, will you
Yeah.
please consider sending an email to Cassie at Parks and Rec, who did the whole thing? She works with Pam.
Yeah.
I mean, that
Yes.
line right there, her best night ever, that would be really meaningful because she put in a lot of work on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would absolutely. I would love to. I will.
Thanks. Shannon? I see your
Thanks.
hand again.
Hi, sorry, I had to exit because I was just watching the lacrosse game. Darien just beat the #1 team in the country with 1 second to go.
All right.
Unbelievable.
Who was it?
Darien beat Brunswick 12-11 last second. Like
That's
off the hook.
huge.
Off the hook.
Thanks for the update.
Sorry, so I had to exit, but it is Park and Rec-esque.
Sounds
Go
good to
Blue
me.
Wave.
I'm sorry you couldn't go.
Rec part down.
The program registrations for spring and summer programs started on March 1st, and they processed on the very first day $391,046. It's up.
Wow.
It was up last year. It's up again this year. They're doing just great stuff. Yeah, just great stuff. I noticed that was one thing in the budget when the Board of Finance was talking about the revenue, the program revenue fund, and they upped it a why'd you do that? This is what it was this is what you estimated. This is what it was last year. And they said, well, but the programs are doing so well, basically, the numbers are up. So it's good. It's very good. The gazebo repairs are finished. All that's left is for it to get painted over the summer. The beautification dollars that are in the current budget, which is $18,000, not the one we're going to vote on, but the one that's in now. The commission is working with Karen Hugum, working out what they're going to do, and it's going to be they're going to spend the money at Pear Tree. There's a litter pickup program probably at the beaches. It's in process of being put together. There'll be plastic buckets, and you'll pick up a bucket when you go into the beach, and then you'll bring the bucket and put your trash in the bucket and make sure the trash goes into the trash can and leave the bucket. It's a nice little program, but it's not organized yet. But it's definitely going to be. It's going to happen. And pickleball. The pickleball was really most of the last commission meeting. And Patty, did you want to talk about the pickleball? I figure you're going to know it better than I know it.
Not
right
really.
now,
I think we'll know more next
after the survey.
next meeting.
Yeah, they're doing a survey right now of what people want or what they're interested in, because there was a lot
And
of
it's a
discussion.
tennis and a pickleball survey to gather
Exactly.
information from both.
Exactly, and should find out whether people want have object to the tennis courts being striped for pickleball, or if they think it's a good idea, or and also I think they're in the process with this whole schedule and figuring out a reservation system, and they may tweak what they have, and it's in process though. I believe it's up on the website, but I'm not positive of that. Is it?
I will just say that if you saw in the newspaper yesterday that the Stanford Mall,
I know
they're going to be doing 26 pickleball. So that's
28, 28 actually.
26 courts for
28.
pickleball.
Yeah, it is
28.
28.
I'm sorry, 28.
Yeah. And
So
the
that's
old
big
sack.
time, and that will take some of the pressure off of our sweet little cherry lawn court. I'm sure of it.
I should do. Maybe. Susan, maybe.
I actually went over to Stanford on Sunday to they had like an open house. I would hope that it might, I don't know, Patty, it indoors, outdoors, and you have to pay. You have to join. I didn't take down the numbers, but you have to join like as the club, and then you reserve the court. So I don't know. Maybe what we'll do is some of the out of towners might end up going to Stanford, but it'll be interesting to see financially how people want to.
You didn't see what they were charging, did you?
I'm sorry?
Did you happen to see how much they're charging for a course?
I didn't. I didn't, so I can find out, but I didn't. Yeah.
Well, pickleball is big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all I've got, guys. Is there any other business? Patty, were you saying something? Yeah.
No, I was just looking at Alicia's daughter who just came in. She's so cute.
I was hiding from them. They found me.
Oh, there she is. Yeah.
Always
That's
do.
okay. All right. Well, we're going to let you go. Next meeting. Hi, girls. The next meeting is on May 3rd. It will be in person in the auditorium, and we will go through the budget. Because we've just been saying, oh, it's just like what it was. It's just like what it was. So now we will go through the budget before we vote. And anyone with any suggestions or any questions in the interim, either let Patty or myself know. And that's it, man. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Everybody have a very nice Passover and Easter, and hope spring has sprung.
Yeah, I hope we don't get a
Happy
thunderstorm.
everything. Thank you, Adele, and thank you, Patty. Amazing.
Really. Thank you, guys.
Safe travels to anybody who's traveling, especially with the kiddos for spring break.
Exactly. I got.
Take care.
Did we get Sue Ellen? Did you see who?
It was Cheryl, and then who else?
I think Kim.
Okay.
Okay.
I did. Yeah.
All in favor, wave and have fun.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thanks.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a good one.